fall, like that September's range. We lost daylight. Like it was going like half an hour every week. It was so significantly darker. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Kind of a life experience. It's just you go for it, you know.
Yeah, no doubt.
But the wildlife and the hunting fishing is definitely fun.
What did you do?
Didn't do any hunting, but the fishing. We went out on the Bay of Alaska, got king crab on the side of the boat, caught kind of went up in the streams, caught salmons, did some halibut fishing. It was fun.
So how did you catch the crab?
The guy we were with had pots.
Oh, okay.
The best seafood I ever had was king crab right over the side of the boat, boiled in seawater. Just dipped it over the sides and started boiling it. Right there. I mean, spoiled. Nothing's compared since.
I probably won't go to Alaska for crab. I don't like crab. No.
Good.
It's too close to my personality.
You relate too much.
Real clash. Oh, I lost my pen.
Well, I was gonna have Tony do it, but
That's what I caught.
I guess
Hey, I
worst,
like
worst case
this.
scenario, I'll do it when it comes time. So
Make some notes. Oh, you got that.
since
You raise some throat
it's just
lozenges.
painful to listen to Lane talk, so
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
That doesn't hurt.
Doesn't it? Well, that's good. Sheesh.
Wet paint off for a couple of meetings. They're not even going to go on it.
Take away your birthday.
That's okay.
That's snow route.
Hi, Mark.
Yeah.
Performance evaluation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's good. That's gonna be a topic. I was gonna say.
Certainly your responsibility.
You gotta take better care of yourself that way. City needs you.
Ever see any plans for the rec center?
No, I never made it. I was either out of town or couldn't make it the night they had it. So.
See ya.
Knock on wood.
You think we will? Make a presentation?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay. No, there was nothing.
That first week, I mean, that first council meeting or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's open to interpretation the way the goofy thing is written. Because it seems to say like you and I thought. But then at the end of that sentence, you know, like another stop before the end of the period.
Yeah.
Well, what period? If it's open-ended, there's no period.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the City Council on this not exactly what you would call warm evening here in delightful North Platte, Nebraska. It is Tuesday, January 16th, 2024, and it's 5:30 p.m. Time to start the council meeting. Calling the meeting to order, we have an invocation by Pastor John Stone from the Berean Church, please.
In Proverbs chapter 8, wisdom is personified and says, "By me kings reign and rulers decree what is just. By me princes rule and nobles, all who govern justly. I love those who love me, and those who seek me diligently find me." Would you pray with me? Father, you are a generous giver, and you promise to give wisdom generously and without grudging to the person who humbly asks for it. Tonight, would you please give each of these officials your wisdom, your insight as they seek to lead North Platte. Thank you, Father, for these civil servants. Thanks for their hard work, their sacrifice, Would you protect their families while they're away attending to the needs of our community this evening? Please give them wise and discerning hearts to skillfully govern the people of our town. By this wisdom, would you please help them tonight to solve problems, to distinguish between right and wrong, and to bring order and stability to North Platte. God grant them the ability to work together in harmony, even when there's honest disagreement. Protect them from division from and the dismissing of one another. I pray for this agenda set before them tonight. Lord, would you give them an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live in and work around North Platte. It's in the matchless name of Jesus Christ that I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. We've made a couple minor modifications to the microphone setup today. When I say we, I mean the IT department. So we're using the roll call sort of as a test. So you might pause just a second between each name, if you would, please, as you do the roll call, just so they can adjust a little bit back there. Roll call, please.
Nestle,
Here.
Tryon. Here. Volz.
Here.
Lucas.
Here.
Garrett.
Here.
Flanders.
Here.
Rieger.
Here.
Woods.
Here.
Thank you, everyone. A current copy of the Open Meetings Act of the State of Nebraska is posted on the wall at the back of the council chambers. The public may address specific agenda items at the pleasure of the mayor. If recognized by the mayor, please identify yourself by stating your name and address. Please address the council through the mayor and limit your remarks. We respect our city employees and request that any complaints or criticisms of employees not be aired in a public meeting. Concerns about employees should be brought to the attention of the city administrator or the mayor. Individuals in violation will be declared out of order. Consent agenda. All matters under the consent agenda are considered by the city council to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. Any city council member may, however, remove an item from consent by request. Number 1, approve the minutes of January 2, 2024. Number 2, approve application by Nebraska Land Days for a special designated liquor license for a fundraiser on February 17, 2024 from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. at the DNN Event Center, 501 East Walker Road. Number 3, approve the mayor's appointment of Lisa McGuire, Lena Hughes, and Brenda Anderson to the North Platte Tree Board. Number 4, send application of Pal's Brewing Company, Pal's Brewing Playhouse, for a Class 1 liquor license located at 301 East 5th Street to the Nebraska Liquor Control Commission with no recommendation. Number 5, approve application by Eagles Fraternal Order 2839 for a special designated liquor license for the Eagles State Pool Tournament on March 22nd, 2024 from 11 a.m. to 1 a.m., March 23rd, 2024 from 8 a.m. to 1 a.m., and March 24th, 2024 from 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. at the DNN Event Center, 501 East Walker Road. Item number 6, place on file the treasurer's reports from November 2023. Item number 7, designation of depository banks.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Rieker, second by Nistley. Calling the question and approving the consent agenda, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Lucas.
I'm going to abstain due to item number 7.
The records show that Councilman Lucas abstains as a result of item number 7. Calling the question, please. Consent agenda is passed. Item number 8. Approve the design plans for the rec center and Cody Pool Water Park and authorize RDG to prepare construction documents and place both projects for bid.
I move to approve the design plans for the rec center expansion and the Cody Pool Water Park addition and authorize RDG to complete the construction documents and place each project up for bid as soon as possible.
Second.
Motion by Garrick, second by Lucas. Before we have any discussion, I think we should probably have a presentation by the architects. Grant, is that you today? Okay, we have several.
I found out it was me today, yesterday.
Okay.
So
I
I'm
w-
going to be reading the notes.
I would just ask you to make sure you stand in front of the microphone so that people can hear you. If you walk from side to side, you don't get that when you talk. So, okay. Thank you.
All right, again, my name is Grant Krager. I'm with CGID Architects. I'm one of North Platte Architects. I'm here with Joe Hughley, and Joe's representing this process and project as well. Lee Davies isn't here tonight, but he is also one of the local architects that is part of our group. RDG has presented several times here in North Platte. Tonight was supposed to be one of them. Due to weather, they asked us to step in, so hopefully we are able to represent well. Again, I'll be reading. If you have any questions, please ask me, and we'll go from there. So, in front of us, you warned me.
We're handling the technology here. Just a second. This is the problem with just-in-time training. Nope. There we go.
Maybe.
No. Oh, hold on. We got one of them.
Last one?
Here comes Kevin. He can help us.
Grant, did I get that one?
No.
Yeah, this one right here is good, but those aren't.
As well as.
There we go. How do we get back?
I know how.
You know how to get back? Okay. Okay, Grant.
Okay. Gonna run through the. Okay. Can you wait around just for a second, Jim? So again, we're gonna run through the plans. Gonna try to do it in a timely fashion. If you have any questions, please just let me know and I'll stop and try to answer it, or we can wait till the end. The plans are what we call at the end of design development, and that's where you take the thoughts and goals of the community and put it into a plan that represents a snapshot of what the project's going to look like. After your vote today, we'll proceed into construction documents, and all of us are part of proceeding with that, and that is making blueprints. Everybody understands that term. So that's where we're at. In a snapshot of time, we're done with the design of the project. We have asked for some input from some local contractors. Sampson Design, or Sampson Construction has helped us with the cost estimate, so we have that as part of it as well. So the first slide I have in front of you tonight is your existing plan, or your existing rec center. And what you see in hard lines is the existing facility. The hatched area is the dome pool area, and that is the portion that will be removed from the project or from the premise. And you'll see a dash line that represents what the total scope or the size of the project will be when completed. All right, that works. We're going to look at more than just the building. We're going to look at the site as well. This shows how the new facility sits on the site and the proposed parking for it. We have approximately 330 parking spots shown. One of the nice things about being on the park is we can utilize the whole park proper to achieve our parking requirements. So we have asked Bob and his staff and a lot of input if this will be adequate, and knowing that Adams Middle School has some times during the day and during events that they will be utilizing this extra parking as well. So we've had input on that and feel that this is adequate to meet the needs for not only now but into the future. So if you have any questions, if you're looking at this, you'll notice that the skate part has been removed. And we do have some areas to the south that have been developed for both parking, paths, detention ponds, and more service for site. You'll also see that one of the ballparks has been removed. And in looking with Parks and Rec, that is an acceptable removal. So, any questions on the site? This is the floor plan, and I understand that this is small, and I'll try to talk about it in color zones. And I don't know if I have the ability to zoom that, but as we look through the part, you're going to see the white areas. The larger white box is the existing gym, which we will not be touching as part of the project, except for heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and some systems. The south part of that gym is the existing racquetball courts, and those will be, for the most part, stay in the location they are, and they will be utilized differently. The other white part is existing meeting room slash exercise room slash instructor room, along with the games room. That will be pretty much stay as it is and has a potential of changing in the future for any needs that come up. So we're considering a soft spot or soft space for the project. To the south of there, in tannish, orangish, architect that's colorblind, and I'll admit that right now. So if I get the colors wrong, please bear with me. But the orangish box that is just to the south is the new gymnasium. And so they're between the two courts and the court that will be in the green box area, we'll be able to have 6 courts run simultaneously on this facility. The primary courts will be the existing one and this new court. In this new court and the existing, there'll be stripe for basketball and in pickleball and several other different opportunities. So they're very much multi-purpose gym spaces, hard court gym spaces. The yellow that is you see dissecting the building in a couple different directions, that's circulation. One thing you're going to notice is we have a east-west hard line that runs through the entire facility. One of the goals for the design is to make this function as well as possible, not only for dollars and cost, but from a efficiency standpoint. So we have a good circulation that runs through the building, and the yellow circulation, the main east-west branch, shows I'm looking at the picture behind you. So if you look at that, we're going to have both of our points of circulation control. We have a emitting area or a main circulation entrance onto the east. And then if you look at the south part of the existing gym, there's a purplish box, and that's going to be membership office. So the facility will be well covered and without a large increase in staff or a thought of increase in staff. And that's important as we're looking at this, not only designing an efficient building from a cost standpoint, but from maintaining it, operating it, and that includes staff. So that circulation has a main entrance off to the east. You're going to see a bluish box off to the east side, just south of the main entrance, and that's a 24-hour fitness. The location of that allows people to come into the main entrance and go right into the 24-hour fitness without going into the rest of the building. So when the building is closed for business, they're able to access that portion of the facility and have bathrooms on the south side. So contained, but when business is going on, they're able to utilize the rest of the facility. So it's in a prime location, has great views off to the east into the park. It has access that's private. It allows us to cut it off in circulation. In the middle of this facility, the other blue boxes, lighter blue, are what we call wet locker rooms. Those locker rooms are just north of the really light box, which is the pool. It is mostly locker rooms for the pool. We have a men's, women's, and a family locker room. They're rather large and with intent. with the direction of how we are functioning with our locker rooms. Those family locker rooms are individual. You can go in there and just like in a lot of restaurants you see today, you'll be able to go into a his, hers. It's a locker room that's available when it's shown as available. The existing locker rooms that are in between the orange box and the existing gym, new gym, are existing locker rooms. They'll get a facelift, and they're going to be what we call dry locker rooms. So they serve as in between the two courts. There's a passageway between the two, and thinking of an event, a basketball event or volleyball, it allows people to have easy passage and amenities between the two gym locations. So the pool is in its center in the middle of the facility. That pool has a new 10-foot by 10-foot lane pool that goes from 3.5 foot deep to, I believe, 13 feet deep on the deep end. The south far part is the far deep end. And we'll have some visuals to show you of these later on. The goal was to have kind of a universal pool that can have lanes, 10 lanes go in both directions. The reason is primarily this pool will be used by non-swim team members. It'll be used on a daily basis by the local population that will go on an east to west direction. Swim team, when they're there practicing, will also go on an east-west direction on the deep end. But this allows us to have 6 to 7 lanes for the public for their walking exercises and for classroom activities. We're going to look a little closer at the pool, but to the west of the main pool is a splash pool that is a smaller 0 to 3 foot entrance. We also have a classroom pool that has a 3.5 foot depth that is in between the main pool and the splash park. On the south of all of that is a 3.5 foot pool that is basically a runoff for the slides. When the slides are not being used, that pool has a capability to be another classroom. So it has multifunction in that. As you're going to see on the south side of that area, you're going to see a couple circular lines, and they represent the slides. The slides will be entered from the inside. You'll climb a tower, and when you get to the top, the slide will allow you to go to the outside of the pool or outside of the building, as most people have seen in some hotels, come back in and go to the runoff pool. There is a deck, a bridge that allows you to go from the main pool off to the east, and it connects to a sauna. One of the requests was to keep the sauna separate from the rest of the areas, the public request, and that was one of the things we tried to accommodate. So there's also a sauna in the southwest corner of the natatorium. We also have off of the natatorium a sauna, so we have a spa, we have a hot tub spa in the southeast corner. In the center of the west wall, you have access to a sauna. Straight up, there's a kind of a red box from the splash park. That is a wet classroom, rental, party room. And so that is a kind of a multi-purpose space that can serve the existing or the different areas of the whole facility, but it's also located so it can be a pool party room as well. Off to the far west and down to the south is the green turf area. This, as we've mentioned before, we've been working with some team members that are on the construction side to help us with cost. One of our cost-saving items is to look at this as a pre-manufactured metal building so that we can save some dollars on this. It lends itself well to this activity. What we're showing you is a field that is large enough for a U10 soccer field. It can host a variety of things in there as far as baseball, softball. We can drop nets down there for batting activities and pitching areas as well. It's also expandable to the south. So that wall to the south is designed to be brought further to the south as needed or a future opportunity. That's the first floor. Any questions? Second floor, what you're going to see mostly is the track. The track is a 3-lane track that goes around the entire perimeter of the new gym area. It also goes south of there into a circulation area that includes some weight activity along with cardio equipment, but primarily those areas are opportunities that we're looking at. It has not been determined where different pieces of athletic equipment are going to be, but there's opportunity up there to be in those areas that are flanking the sides of the track. The track has a look down onto, and you'll see this in the 3Ds coming up. You'll have an opportunity to look down into the new gym. It has an opportunity on the far east side to have glass on that whole front, so you'll see the entire expanse of the park. It's one of the greatest views that we're going to have in this area. And it also has a view down into the natatorium and the pool on the south side. Again, it's 3 lanes for different events during the 3 or 4 meets that are held there. One of the lanes can be chained off and for viewing. What you're going to see viewing into the natatorium, what you're going to see on the pink is actual seating area that looks down onto the pool for events. So it has its own seating area on the second floor. There's also down below on the first floor, I did mention, there's some tabletop seating that will allow for families or people waiting for practice to get over to watch the pool and be outside of the natatorium. Off to the far east, we do have public restrooms. South of there is a multi-purpose classroom, multi-purpose meeting room, a flexibility space with a foldable partition that can divide the space. Southeast corner is an outdoor fitness space that works in conjunction with the fitness space above. So what has been presented in the past as an outdoor area, we have maintained that. I'll show that as well. Any other questions on the upstairs? That did not work.
Kevin?
Use your arrow. Okay. This side. So, okay. What I'm going to share with you now is some renderings, and this is the this is the southwest corner of the facility, looking at the turf area, and you're also looking back at the natatorium. One of the things that is shown in this area right here is a porous metal screen that allows for sun shade into the natatorium. Great idea to have light in there, but you want it to be controlled. we're on the south side of the building, harder to do. If you're on the north side of the building, they call it artist light, and you don't have to worry about glare and those type of things. This sun screen allows for that diffuse lighting to get light into the facility. So again, we're looking at the large metal building. This is the turf area, existing gym, new gym, entrance high area, natatorium. This is looking at the southeast corner of the facility, and I'm going to try to bring this down just a little bit. There we go. And what we're looking at is there are two entrances that you're seeing into the facility. There's a south entrance, and then there's a main entrance over here. The south entrance connects to the parking lot that might be heavily utilized by staff and public on light days. And you're going to see the outdoor space, the exercise room upstairs, the 24 fitness room here, the natatorium. And what I want to show you here is the turf area has some translucent panels that will allow diffuse light to come in to that facility, and it'll help with lighting and give a good quality. This is looking at the, do this every slide, sorry. Thank you, Joe. There we go. Northeast corner. And this is going to be the part that you see from Adams or from Francis. And what you're looking at is, this is the second story area, and this is going to be the track. So as you're walking through the track, you can see it's going to be a very open view onto the to the whole park and off to Adams Middle School to the north, and entrance onto into the facility. And then you can see the existing facility as it wraps around. The bricks, the materials that we'll be using, we're going to have some bricks. They're not going to try to match exactly to the existing facility. They're going to complement it. And we're going to have some metal panel banding with a lot of light window banding. Main entrance to the facility. As you're into that east parking lot, this is what you'll see as you drive up to the facility. And this is the two-story entrance area. When we were talking about the upstairs outdoor fitness area, that is a look onto that area with some screening. So there's some modesty as far as being able to utilize that space and to still have that outdoor activity. This is the entrance into the main building, stairway that gets us, we have a lot of exits that we need to require getting from the top floor down. And this is, again, that metal panel. A different look at that same area, a little bit more dynamic, and it does show you that translucent panel and the metal panel on the south sides. This is looking at the, again, at the northeast corner of the facility. And this is looking at the main entrance. All right, I'm gonna try to not do that. Main entrance into your facility. And what I want to show you is the volume and the connectivity through all the spaces. As you come in from the east parking lot and come into the main entrance, what you're going to see is a welcome desk right in front of you. You're also going to see the main court off to the right. You're going to see, or to the north, and then you're going to see the natatorium off to the south. All the way through, you're going to be looking into the turf area. So again, this is an opportunity or a goal to try to make this as user-friendly and for not only the public, knowing they're going to go, but also for the staff to have a lot of visual connection throughout the entire space. And the tall area in the center is an elevator, and this is one of the staircases. And you can see the track. Actually, what you're seeing is beyond the track is one of the exercise area that looks down onto the to the lower level, and you see some glass. This is looking from the main court, the new main court, to the south. There we go. So you're looking onto the main entrance from the court. There is some glass separation between the two area. Back, one of the slides that I did not take an opportunity to talk about is acoustics. One of the big thoughts is acoustics need to be thought about throughout the whole facility, and we are looking at that at every opportunity, understanding that it is a big volume box. So you can control it, and we're going to do as much as possible, but at the end of the day, there will be some activity sounds throughout the facility. Okay, so. And I think what is happening here is the scale of the slides. This is the pool area, and it shows the view opportunity as you're walking by the track and some of the sitting areas up above. I don't know what we're experiencing. I apologize. It worked in rehearsal. Mr. Mayor, would it be okay if I just went to the video? Sure. Okay.
We don't get paid by the afternoon.
We did take pictures PDF, and they will be on indetailgraph.com. Thank you.
So we'll just go to the video now.
Can we cut the sound? Sorry. We're going through the main entrance, and we just passed the entrance into the 24 Fitness, and we're going to go into the main area. You're seeing some baffles that are part of the sound control in the welcome desk and the stairs going up. Pretty obvious, but this is 3-lane tracks that go around the entire area of the open gym. And you're going to see the glass wall to the south separating the welcome area. You're going to see some equipment opportunities or exercise equipment opportunities. Can I turn that down? This is the main gym that you're looking at. Natatorium off to the south or to the right. Exercise equipment to the north. And you're coming up onto, well, that would have been the park wall. This is an natatorium, and it shows that pool. It's going to show, this is a great view from walking through that area and what you're looking down onto the natatorium. And that diffuse light that comes in from the south. Seating. This is the exercise room that has the outdoor space as well. Turf area with the diffuse light that comes in from the south and from the east. And you can see some of the drop nets for batting cages. Again, that main circulation underneath the second floor circulation, and seeing the court off to the north. And then again back to that main public area. Again, thank you. And that's really what I have for you. If you have any questions.
Okay, thanks, Grant. Questions? Ty?
What's the distance on the walking track approximately?
9 laps to a mile. We had a number of different goals to do that.
Grant,
That's,
microphone.
we had a number of different goals, but that's what it came out to be.
Good, thank you.
Brad?
I have a few questions. The old gym, is that going to stay basketball courts? Is that what it's going to be?
Yeah, basketball court, pickleball, multi-sport gym.
Awesome. Then in it'd have been the southwest corner, the green area.
Yes.
What's a square foot of that?
So,
Fairly large area.
I would have to get that for you. It's large enough for a U10 court, and I did not look at it. But basically, you're going to be looking at a small football field size.
Gotcha. So how
Expandable.
many employees / lifeguards is it going to take to run this when you're talking bare bones? When we're up and running.
We'll kind of determine
Bob, microphone, please. Sorry. We got to make sure the people at home can hear us.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's still in the planning stage. One of the key things that we've been doing now, as Grant kind of alluded to in the rest of the building, is making it easily supervised. What we're being very careful about is we aren't creating our own blind spots. So there's clear line of sight for the lifeguards. There's clear line of sight in the buildings so that we don't have to add a lot of people. And again, it'll determine what's going on and how many people are in there. And so we can't give you an exact number right now, but we're being very cautious in the design phase with that in mind.
Do you think it'll be similar to the employee base you have now, or you're going to have to go up? Like, give
Just
me a
for
rough
the lifeguards
estimate.
or for the whole staff?
Yeah.
Obviously, we're going to have to increase our janitorial staff with that. The city's doing a nice job now of combining maintenance people, so that'll affect how many more maintenance people we have to hire, or we just have people from other departments come and help with certain things at the facility. As far as the supervisory part of it, again, with the desks located where they are, they'll be able to see into all the parts of the building. And so we shouldn't have to add too many more people that have to roam the building because we'll have the visual right there. But it is going to be a big building. And so, yeah, we'll definitely have to add some people, but we're, like, again, in the design phase, especially being very cautious about designing it so that we can make it as efficient as possible.
Gotcha. And how many lifeguards are you thinking? Because I know they're hard to come by nowadays.
The number of lifeguards is hard to say because some guards work 3 hours a week and some guards work 27 hours a week. And so if we can get a lot of people that want to work, the times, we won't need as many. But as far as like FTEs, we'll have a full-time supervisor for the aquatics, and then we'll have a full-time head guard is what we call them. And then one of the other things that was nice about the office areas is our office areas will actually be spread out now. So the aquatic supervisor can look right into the pool and be right there to help out. The building supervisor will be able to look into the turf area and into the gym and be right there to help supervise that. And then the current office areas will take care of the north side of the building. So again, I think at one time when we had talked with the aquatic specialists, a minimum, if we're open for everything and all ages of the general public, was 3 or 4. If it goes by the square footage of the water surface area and then the number of people in there. So again, if we have lap swimming and we may have 10 people in there, we won't have to have 3 people to supervise it. And so it's hard to tell you exactly how many we're going to have until we know exactly what the operational hours are and what we're going to do during those hours.
Gotcha. So we talked about earlier how long the pool, I think this would be a architect question. How long do you think the pool is going to be down for? Because I know, we were trying to keep it open and it didn't seem, you know what I mean?
It does. And what we've done is we're going to build the new south pool while the old one is running. And then there's going to be a little bit of disruption in the main corridor. And because that main corridor is about the south wall of the existing pool. So there is some space to get in and around there, but what will probably happen, and we're looking at now, is the wet locker rooms are going to have to come towards the end we're going to have to utilize the existing locker rooms for the new pool. So once the existing pool is down, then we can go back and infill that location where the south wall of the pool kind of disrupts that. We're about 2 feet away from the north wall of our locker rooms to the south wall of the existing natatorium. It's not perfect, but when it's all said and done, the flow will be nice and the spaces work.
So do you think you'll be able to keep a pool open?
For the most part.
Okay. I got you.
Now with that, there's always challenges that come in construction, and we have a plan right now. We're going into construction documents. That phasing we're still working through because of those dynamics. In a perfect world and what we think we can handle, there will be little disruption, some, but little disruption from going from the new pool and then tearing down the old pool.
Gotcha. And how long do you think that would be? Weeks?
I think there's going to be a couple weeks disruption, and most of it is public safety.
Right.
When you're tearing down an existing structure with look at that dome. So you just think about taking that dome off and the effects it's going to have and what you're going to want for public safety. We're probably going to have some serious thoughts about, let's close this down till we get that dome off and that south wall removed and go from there. So there's going to be a couple weeks.
Gotcha. I just know there's a concern with the community of not having a pool for 6 months would be a problem. A couple weeks, probably not a big deal. So I'm just trying to set community expectations.
Yeah. So Brad, I think what we've done is done the best of both worlds. For the cost, I think the downtime is going to be what we think is manageable, and then what you're going to end up is a better functioning building without that extra square footage that you would have to do when it's not necessary except for that couple week period of time. That's the hope and goal right now.
Okay, thank you.
One thing I would add to that is if we can phase it all in right, if we would have to close the rec center pool, it'd be when Cody Pool was open.
Yeah,
so
I
at
agree.
least there would be a pool
Yep.
for people to go to, whether it was an outdoor pool or the indoor pool.
Yeah, I would encourage that if you can swing it in the
Very
time
good
frames.
point. And we talked about that. I just didn't bring that up.
On that same question, do you think you'll be able to avoid a disruption to the high school team then with the timing of that?
Yeah. So with the new pool being available, that's going to be able to be used. Access, in all reality, from that south parking lot, south entrance, you'll be able to get to that and be able to function through it. It's the connection to the rest of the facility that we're going to want to minimize for public safety as we tear down that wall. Access into the pool will be available. Without disruption to the rest of the facility, we're probably going to have that for that 2 weeks, month period of time.
So we'll install a big tunnel from the old building to the new. Just kidding. Other questions?
I'm not
No,
sure who.
sorry, Donna, go ahead.
I'm not sure, thank you, who to direct this question to, but I was asked about the skateboard park. Is that what it was called?
The skate park?
The skate park. Is that being relocated?
Yes.
And do we know, is that part of this plan?
Go ahead, Bob.
overall?
So in the overall plan of the three projects, it's still involved. What we wanted to do was wait until the final design was done for the rec center to see if we could still put it where it's currently located. Now that we know, well, assuming that the final design will be okayed, actually where the skate park is now will be where the sand volleyball courts are moved to. And so now that we know that it won't fit there, we're starting this next week with the skate park committee to move forward with the skate park project and probably recommend a few sites around the community for the council to approve where they would want the new skate park. And so then we can do that through the committee. We can do that after we hire the consulting firm and they have their input also, as they put it. But then we'll come back to the council and the administration and say, hey, these are where we recommend. What do you guys want to do? So now that we know this, we can start moving forward pretty quick with the skate park.
Thank you.
You bet.
Pete?
I just wanted to make a couple comments. Thank you, everyone, for your input on all this. It's been an extremely transparent project, and you've allowed and I don't have a voice, but you've allowed a lot of public input and opportunity for people to speak their mind on this. So thank you to everybody involved in this. And there's a lot of people that we need to thank. So, and I know you don't want to answer this question, but the one question that everyone wants to know is, when do you think spring, fall, when do you think, if in a perfect world, that we could break ground on some construction on this?
Spring 2024.
It's great to hear. So thank you all very much. Appreciate you.
Ed?
I don't know if Bob mentioned it or Grant mentioned it about a consultant. What are you talking about?
Really, we utilize the service of, we've asked 3 firms, somewhat local or regional, to help us with the cost estimating. And so we, for a pretty reasonable cost in our service, out of our service, we've presented this information to Sampson Construction to validate our cost estimating. In conjunction with that, RDG does these type of facilities all over the country, and especially in the Midwest, and so they had their own cost estimate. There was some comparison. Our local firms, because of size of the project, asked really if they had to be involved because they didn't feel like they would be as what we needed, I guess. So we thank them for that honesty, and we've asked them, and Sampson Construction did provide that check, and we're grateful for that as well. So with that said, we look really good on the budget. That's not saying we're not going to have challenges. That's not saying that we're in a really interesting construction time period, as you know, and that we're not going to face a little uncertainty, but it looks better now than it did up to this point. A little bit of better climate.
One other question, Grant. This is probably maybe not even directed at you, but with potentially the skate park being relocated, was there any thought about the ice rink being in proximity to the rec center?
I can't answer that. We weren't, that's out of our scope, sorry.
Thank you.
Are we,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Don.
are
Go
we
ahead,
going to
Donna.
have a presentation about the Cody Water Park, and is that?
I have that in here. It was not, can we try it again? It's the last, if we get the last slide up, and I apologize.
Phil, let's ask another question. Kevin's going to work some magic here. Go ahead,
Work on
Ty.
that. Back onto the topic of the pool, I know when the original consultants were here in public input, there was a lot of talk about the dynamics of a competitive pool versus a recreational pool.
Yes.
Are the competitive pool folks happy with this design?
Yeah,
Just
actually,
meeting their
I don't
requests?
know. I'm not going to say they're 100% happy. Our pool consultant is an international design firm. We're really happy with their what they've brought to the table. On top of them being a major player in the pool design, they're very conservative as well. So we've come up with a pool that we think represents or serves North Platte and the surrounding community. That hub community that we're going to be a part of. And so there is the primary thought, and Bob, if I say anything wrong, but the primary thought was to take care of the everyday public as best we can and set it up to be a legal pool for meets as far as their requirements. We've talked about a number of different things. Where is the score tables? How are we gonna store the starting blocks? We also have an opportunity for a ninja
Course.
Thank you, that goes over the pool on the deep end. And so with the diving board and taking all those dynamics in place, we think we have a really good plan that is going to serve North Platte well.
And
one more thing to add to that is we have Coach Yonke, who's the current swim team coach, is on board with all the stuff now and has helped us immensely. Coach Beggs, the former coach, has helped also. Lyle Mitchell is a certified official. So we're making good use of all those people, especially for the high school competitive swimming. And that was one of the reasons when Grant said the swim team will swim south to north, is they'll start in the deep end now. So we should never have to go through this with the pool not being deep enough to use the starting blocks again. And so that's why we have them running both ways, especially the south to north is for the competitive aspect of it.
Thank you, guys.
And before we move on to that, I did ask some representatives from the school, and I see they're in the audience, just to make sure that they're okay with it. So Todd, would you take the mic, or Stuart, whichever one of you prefer? And excuse me, Dr. Rhodes, I shouldn't call you Todd.
No, you're
Sorry.
fine. You're fine. Mayor, City Council, I'm Todd Rhodes. My address is 1508 Cornhusker Circle here in North Platte, and I represent North Platte Public Schools this evening. I think first of all, I would just say thank you to the city and to the rec center. We've had a phenomenal relationship over the years. Really have worked well together in terms of use of the rec center and primarily the pool and diving area over the years. And you heard Bob mention earlier Coach Beggs, and I can remember 15 or 16 years ago when I was the high school principal at North Platte, and Coach Beggs would come up to me and we'd talk a lot about competitive advantages and disadvantages. And one of the disadvantages that we did have is our kids were practicing in a pool that wasn't a competitive pool. And so when we looked at our ability to host events, for instance, since the NSAA didn't view our pool at the rec center as a competitive pool, we were not allowed to host swimming invites of that nature. Now, we would have duals and triangulars. We'd have some of those home events. But we really weren't probably doing justice from a competitive standpoint for our kids. And so we are extremely grateful, very supportive of this proposed design. And I visited with Coach Beggs a little bit and certainly our current coach, Yonke, and they're just thrilled. I think the other thing that's really neat about this design is it gives a spectator's view of this activity as well. And we haven't always had that with the current rec center in terms of where parents and family members and maybe fellow students are going to be able to watch that particular event. So yeah, we're really pleased and our coaches have certainly had a voice in this process along the way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Grant.
Coach Yonke has my number, so I can't make him mad. So, what you're looking at is coated pool, and I apologize, we didn't have this earlier. A couple different things that we're looking at is one is to pave the existing parking lot, and if you try to use that for any different function in the park, you realize that a parking spot may not always be utilized properly, and so we don't get the peak usage or the optimal parking usage out of there. A paved stripe parking will allow for that. There's other opportunities being looked at throughout the park, and I won't get into those, with the tennis effort, and we're just appreciative of all the master planning thought that's gone into there. So really what we're looking at is in this slide here is an overview of the park, and the 15-meter indoor and outdoor are different. Outdoor is 50 meter. And so this is a regulation size park or pool, and it has a building that will be renovated, and it has a equipment room that will be renovated to help with filtration and some of the things that the pool and Parks and Rec are dealing with from a health and human services standpoint. The facility that you're seeing that is off to the southeast corner is a new leisure pool area that has a path to it, and we'll get to that area a little bit closer. We're also having a new pool house that serves this area, and we have an area just north of the new pool area. That's a splash park that has a gate that can bring it into the park area during season. Outside of season, we're going to have the ability to fence that off so they can function longer than the pool can because of season and where we're at. These are the bathhouses, very small. I apologize for this, but what you're looking at is off to the left-hand side is the existing pool house that will be renovated. Right now, they have gang showers. There will be no more gang showers. They're all going to be private showers. And there's going to be some more shower facilities. What we do know is shower and toilet facilities directly correlate with how many people you can have in your pool. This will increase your capacity, your usage capacity of the pools. The building off to the right is the new pool house, and it has just a number of different toilet and shower facilities, along with a new lifeguard room. The old concession area had everything. It had office, had concession, had lifeguard. That area is going to be pretty much concessions now. So the pool house off to the right not only has facilities to serve the pools, but it also has 2 north bathrooms that will have access from the park as needed. And we can close it off as needed into the pool area, so to help with that a little bit more. So those are the 2 facilities. I wish I can, and I will. Zoom in on this a little bit, and I'll stop right there. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to put a new slide in on the existing pool. It's going to be the southeast corner of the existing pool, so we're going to be able to utilize that functionality more than the existing pool is now, and that is shown right there. This is the new lazy river that is going to go through the facility. We're going to have a bridge that will allow us to go over the lazy river onto the island and utilize this for, you're going to be able to rent those spaces out. Is that correct? Also, we're going to have a 0 entrance area for the kids that will go down to a 3-foot. And then it goes down into a pool opportunity area that will have basketball and hoops and those type of things. This is the slide. So we have the slide tower, and we have 2 slides that are in the project shown, with a 3rd one master planned, so that we have the right pit size for the pumps. We have the right tower size and opportunities for a 3rd slide, and we have the right runoff for those areas. As we come around, there's another spin-off pool area, and then we have an area that is basically a shallow sitting area that allows for chairs to be in there and 4 to 6 inches of water, and for parents or for those people. So this is the Cody pool. A lot of this will be able to be done either during the off hours or off season, when we're looking at adding this area and taking care of some of the filtration issues that are currently there. We're switching an entirely different type of filtration system. And so we also know that the chemical use is different here than the indoor area, and we'll work through those areas. What have I missed? Okay. Questions on that area?
Okay. And I did ask at one of the presentations because someone was concerned about the geese and the ducks and all that business.
Oh, I think they're still going to be there.
Maybe you want to touch on how you expect to keep them out.
So activity is one thing that'll help. During the off season when nobody's there, you're going to have geese and ducks. I don't know. There's a lot of mitigation things you can do in the area, sounds and surfaces and stuff like that. And a lot of them have very limited success. We know that from different type of structures. But there are activities but we do not have a mitigation plan, right? Duck or geese mitigation plan in place right now.
So in the wintertime, there won't be water there anyway.
And that would be right for the lazy river,
Right,
and
for the-
especially the 50-meter pool now. The only time we really have any ducks or geese is we keep the deep end full of the existing pool full of water because we have hydrostatic valves that lets water come up from the groundwater come up through the pool valves anyways, so that it doesn't lift the pool out. So that's the only time we really ever have ducks and geese in there, is when the water that's been in there all winter is still in there. Once we get in there and drain it and get the chlorinated water,
They don't like
we
it.
don't have any in. And then, as Grant said, when the activities start, then they definitely stay away. And so the lazy river, we would drain, and so then they wouldn't have that water in there at all over the wintertime.
People just have to use it.
So just to be clear, Bob, just to be clear, right now, we don't have any problem with geese in the pool. So therefore, we wouldn't have a problem in the lazy river.
That's what we're hoping for.
Thank you. And ducks and geese don't really like chlorination, so I don't think it'll be.
They don't, yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, go ahead, Ty, sorry.
I've noticed with modern development that you've seen the big shift from vertical or angled parking to vertical parking. I come from the perspective of somebody who plans to drive a full-size pickup my entire life, and a lot of our residents in town are in that same boat. How I noticed in both projects, everything is drawn as perpendicular parking, or I don't know what the right term is for it. Could you talk to us about how that decision's made and what the pros and cons are, how you guys see that?
So what we're showing right now in our design development still has opportunity to shift. I'm going to see if Brent wants to weigh in. He didn't want that. He just gave me that look.
This is important stuff, Brent.
Hi, Ty.
Well, that's for sure.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm Brent Berkland, City Engineer. We've had some discussions on the parking lot layout. Going through multiple iterations over time, the most efficient use to get the most number of spaces is going perpendicular, the 90 degree. I've gone and done 45, 60, and 90. And when you do raw parking lot counts, you get more efficient use by the 90 degree. Now, sometimes it's more convenient doing the angled parking as far as backing out. And one of the ways that you try to deal with some of the convenience on these, we've working with RDG and the consultants on the layout, we've insisted with going with larger parking spots. They're going to be the 9-foot by 20-foot. And then we also have some bigger driving aisles. Instead of 24-foot, we're going with 26. And the main on the rec center, the main, if you want to say going from McDonald, that goes from McDonald all the way up to Francis, that's going to be 30-foot wide. So the way to kind of deal with some of the more difficult, like some of the smaller spots, like over at the mall, where it's a little more challenging to get a full-size pickup in and out, go with wider, longer spots and a little wider driving aisle. And that usually takes care of those concerns.
Yeah, and with all due respect to those who've been involved in the design, I know you're trying to make the best use of land. You know, the high school parking lot's not a great experience, and the mall parking lot isn't a great experience. And so what you're saying is that these would be wider. In essence, they'd have more
wider and longer with wider driving aisles. And so that allows you to make the turn in and to back out more comfortably.
Yeah, I guess my only encouragement of that is where we have land, pretty good land access. I appreciate you guys being focused on that item, because I do think it's something that people care about. So no, I think you've addressed my questions. Thank you.
Welcome.
One other thing that has been looked at is bus going through the parking lot, and where can we park them? And when we had the slide up there originally, there will be an opportunity to drive all the way through the park. Now, it's going to be totally connected from McDonald Street all the way over to going on to Leota. So we've thought about, we have 30-foot lanes as opposed to the standard 24-foot lanes. We have some parking that is off of the main parking area that buses can drop off and go to those areas. We thought about the busy time during Adams pick up and drop off. A lot of conversation has been about that Francis Street and how do we provide more park in that area with also maintaining our east entrance and not being overrun and not being allowed into the building during that time. So we think that loading up and really thinking about that south area parking has been a point of emphasis. We've also, our design consultants are from larger areas, and so we did talk about that right up front. We wanted larger parking lanes and parking spots.
No, I appreciate that a lot. I think, you know, when you're working in metropolitan area and the percentage, I think, I don't have any statistics behind this, but I just think our percentage of big vehicles is significantly higher around here.
Yeah, I share that.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think if we went out in the street, did a poll, we'd find several pickups out there in the parking lot. Brad.
All right. So looking at this, back on the employee, lifeguard issue. I'll be honest, I have a little bit of a concern with this layout because I was down in Kansas over the summer, and it was kind of a similar setup like this. And when you have all the little nooks and crannies, your sites of line that you got to cover by that. I mean, they had 8 to 10 lifeguards walking around there, and that's just to cover all of the areas. So I would just encourage you guys to take a good hard look at that, because if we have to have 10 lifeguards running around this, it's going to be hard to do. So just something to think about. To Councilman Voel's point, you're going to get started on the rec center spring of 2024, which is very aggressive. I appreciate that. When do you thinking rec center be done?
Okay, so rec center, what we can do and what we should do is going to look a little different. We're going to look at the master plan. We want to get a contractor on board when we proceed forward. We have an idea that they both can go sequentially, same time. But that doesn't mean we should. That doesn't mean that we should start a spring construction at Cody Pool. We should probably start in the fall. Now with that, we have to get a contractor on board that is going to share their abilities to be able to perform the tasks that we're asking. So our schedule is going to get tweaked a little bit. I think what we're going to do is look for an opportunity to maybe start the construction of the lazy river and lazy pool, if it makes sense while it's going on. If it's a safety thing, or if it impedes upon public access, walking or parking, we need to rethink that. But the goal is right now is to get the lazy river in those areas, that extra new pool house done outside of the fence simultaneously with the rec center, if it makes sense. That's the goal.
So perfect world, what are you shooting for to have this wrapped up?
Wrapped up. It's I think it's
So Cody Pool, as Grant said, won't be ready to go this summer,
right?
But should be all ready to go in the summer of 25.
Okay.
The rec center plan, if it hasn't changed since the last time we all talked, we're actually going to phase parts of the rec center in. I guess even as Grant said, the new pool can be open before the old one's closed. But the last completion date that I heard that everything was going to be done was November or December of 25.
25. All right.
But otherwise, things will open as they get completed and as we can safely get people into that area.
And that's perfect world, so I understand that things can get tweaked. And
So
moved
I'm sure
around.
that's how it'll work out.
For sure.
I like the optimistic nature of your estimate. That's really nice.
That's code for January 26th.
Other questions? Seeing none, let's switch back to the voting. We got one of them.
There it is.
The ones out there are not.
This one is, Mayor.
Ooh. Okay.
Ready?
Kevin, you win the whack-a-mole game. Okay. Calling the question on item number 8, please. Item number 8 is passed. Item number 9, adopt a resolution to update the emergency snow routes. We would need a motion to proceed.
I move to approve the resolution designating emergency snow routes for the city of North Platte.
Second.
Motion by Vols, second by Garrick. Do we have any discussion on item number 9? Mr. Lucas?
Yeah, real quickly, I just wanted to thank you guys and Lane for the public outreach on this. I just think that's doing things the right way. This is an important issue to some people, so thank you for your efforts on that.
Okay. Other questions or comments? Just a second, sir. I'll get to you.
I received your notice.
Sir, can you tell us who you are, where you live, please?
I'm concerned with the 17th Street from Jackson to Adams. And I received this 2:00 Friday. I called the city to see if there's someone I could speak to about it. And the person who I would have been able to speak to had already gone home for the weekend. I haven't spoke to the councilman who would be concerned with that area either. But I've worked previously in previous years with Mayor Richardson, Mayor Whitaker, and the city administrators for both of those, whose names I do not recall. 17th Street is a 3-block long street between Adams and Jackson. There are 0 school facilities on the south side and only residences on the north side. When they previously plowed the street during emergencies, which at that time they actually weren't supposed to be, what happens is the school comes out with their 4-wheeler snow plows. They clear the sidewalks for the kids who did still walk to school. And here would come the snow plows, bury the sidewalks to a depth that nobody could walk on them, bury the residences on the north side so that even if we got our cars out of the way, we would be at least 4 hours digging out the snow pile. To me, it would make more sense to leave that street off of the snow route, take Adams Street, which is heavily traveled, clear to 19th Street, then go west to Jackson if they wanted that to remain a snow street, or to Sherman and go south so that you would end up with a rectangle over there where no house, no residence would be less than 2 blocks, some places possibly 3, from getting to a snow route. The other thing is the only emergencies we've had out there during any blizzard conditions would be power outages. And the feed for the electrical power to the subdivision, and I believe to most of the people off of 19th Street, is on 19th Street. They had to get to 19th Street to restore power. So if they made that rectangle out there, down Adams, if they want to leave Jackson, which is more residences now than previous, if they still wanted that to remain on the snow route, just do the rectangle around. Nobody has to go more than 2 blocks to get home. Emergency services can get anywhere. If they wanted to go down to Sherman, might only be 3 blocks to get to a snow emergency street. And basically, since I didn't have time to talk to either of the councilmen on that side or anyone else, that's the way I would present it, and thank you for your time.
And I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Rick Miller.
Rick Miller. Thanks, Rick. Mr. Woods, you were going to make a comment. Sorry.
An interesting point. I'm sure Lane would be happy to talk. But I'm for more snow routes. I'm not against this.
The
But-
way I look at it is it's a great expense for the city, removing snow. And if you just made that rectangle out there, or 2 rectangles, there's no place that anyone would have to go to be 2 blocks away from a snow route. In emergencies, usually occur on 19th Street, not on 17th Street. And previously, like I said, when they did do 17th Street, 4 hours getting off the street where we could have, before they removed the snow, we could have just drove over to Adams Street.
Yeah. Well, I've been in that situation before too on some roads I've lived in. It's kind of a catch-22 with snow removal. But that was my question, is about what was this going to add to the budget to take care of these new routes?
Steve, sorry, Lane doesn't have much of a voice here, so I'll ask the street superintendent here. So.
I'm Steve Mintzer, the street or public service director.
Excuse me, public service director.
Used to be street department. But as far as the cost for what we're adding, wouldn't add very much to it because they're all connected together. It's basically on the routine that we travel to plow the streets. The reason we wanted 17th on there is so we had all the way around all of the schools covered.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we wanted 17th added.
I think we also had a
connected together that way.
Sorry, and wasn't that the street that the
Yes.
gentleman requested last?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Donna?
No one contacted me about this, but I did read on social media that people were concerned about off-street parking to get their cars off the street because they have no off-street parking. So is that, I mean, I know they have to move their cars and get them off the street or they get a ticket. So was that taken into consideration? Or, I mean, I'm just throwing that out there, I guess.
That is always a concern, but I don't have a good answer for it for those who don't have off-street parking.
I guess they should have been here.
Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, isn't that particularly an issue where there's not today's setbacks? Is that, I don't know if maybe Brent has any more thoughts on that, but as I was looking through those, I was trying to figure out, I didn't drive down all of them, but a lot of them. And I thought that most of them looked to have normalized setbacks on this to where people should have at least some driveway depth to
Or
get
yard.
that. Yeah.
The new housing going on at Adams Street is only gonna have 2-car driveway. So generally you have room for 2 cars. And then if you got a family of more than 2 people and 3 of the 4 of you drive, you gotta have some place to put those cars.
Ed?
Mr. Mayor, thank you. It seems like it's kind of a catch-22. I think we received a number of complaints because we didn't plow the streets. Now we're worried about complaints because we are plowing the streets. And I think, sorry, I don't have my microphone on. I like the fact that you're actually increasing the snow routes. I think that's going to be beneficial for the community overall. There's going to be some hardships with some people. I understand that. But I appreciate what you're doing. I don't like to shovel mine twice. But at least I can get around.
It's a catch-22, definitely.
Thank you. I guess one other question too, Mr. Mayor. This gentleman did offer seemed to be some reasonable suggestions, and I guess I'm wondering if maybe we shouldn't. We're probably not going to have this all signed for our next blizzard, unless it's Thursday, and then we definitely won't. But I guess it may make some sense to take into consideration what this gentleman has maybe recommended, and maybe reevaluate and maybe hit this in a month or two.
Are you making a motion to table? Is that what you're doing?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to table. Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay. Would you like to specify a time frame on your table motion, Mr. Reeker?
Lane, what do you think?
Probably the next regular meeting, the first meeting in February.
First meeting of February? Okay, I motion then that we table until the first meeting of February.
Second.
I have a motion to table by Mr. Reeker and a second by Mr. Woods. Calling the question on the table. Motion is tabled. We'll reconsider item number 9 at the first meeting in February. Thank you, everyone. Item number 10. Authorize the Parks and Recreation Department to use up to $30,000 from the New Bern Fund for the purchase of used rides for Cody Park.
Mr. Mayor, I move to authorize the Parks and Recreation Department to expend up to $30,000 from the New Bern Fund for the purchase of used rides for Cody Park.
Second.
Motion by Reeker, second by Garrick. Any discussion on item number 10? Mr. Woods?
I just wondered how much would be left in the New Bern funds after that's gone.
Last check, the New Bern Fund had a little over 3.1 million in it, and we expend out about 2.7 is where our stopping point is. So it'd still leave about 350,000 or so to spend for other projects.
I'm not sure I understand you. When you say it has 3.1, is that
we only spend
principal in the fund? What, I want to know what's available to spend.
To spend, we have about 400,000.
400,000.
Thank you.
Sorry. I'm translating for Lane's and his voice is a little, okay.
Well, it's bad combination. I don't hear so well, and he doesn't have much of a voice tonight.
So just to remind everyone, we don't touch the principal in the New Bern Fund. The council, we're going to only spend the revenue from the interest, basically. So, okay, Brad.
And what's the average annual interest that you receive? I know it fluctuates, obviously, but roughly
150 to 250,000.
Okay.
Guess we have a bad year like 2 years ago with the markets.
Yeah, that's an average. I get it.
Mr. Lucas?
Are there rides identified? Did we learn about what the items being purchased are?
So there's more sites that we use that have different rides that come and go all the time, and they sometimes go fairly quickly. We don't have anything specific, but we've missed some opportunities in the past, and so we want to be able to move quickly on it. So we kind of have the area to the north of the existing rides where we have about 3 spots at least laid out, maybe even up to 5. It just depends on what becomes available that we think we want something that, we're going with used instead of brand new, so it kind of fits in with the character of what we already have. It's just going to depend on what becomes available. About 4 years ago, I missed a children's roller coaster that I could have got for $9,000, but I didn't have the authority to do anything at that time, and so I want to be able to actually move on something if it becomes available.
Thank you.
Pete?
Yeah, I just think this is an excellent use of New Bern funds in the interest. It's prescribed. Cody Park is a hidden gem, and it gets probably more use than any other park in our communities. So I think it's a great idea.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, calling the question on number 10, please. Number 10 is passed. Get your reading voice ready, Bill. Okay. Item number 11. Adopt ordinance number 4156 to create sanitary sewer connection district number 22, a 15-inch PVC sanitary sewer beginning on Echo Drive approximately 1,300 feet south of Walker Road, thence north to Walker Road, thence west along Walker Road to Buffalo Bill Avenue on second reading. Please read the ordinance.
Ordinance number 4156, an ordinance creating sanitary sewer connection district number 22 within and without the corporate limits of the city of North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska, establishing the outer boundaries of the districts, designating the size, location, and terminal points, and referring to plans and specifications and estimates of the city engineer in connection therewith on file with the city clerk.
Thank you.
I move to adopt ordinance number 4156 in order to create sanitary sewer connection district number 22 as presented in council materials.
Second.
Motion by Garrick, second by Reeker. Any discussion on item number 11? Seeing none, calling the question on item number 11, please. Item number 11 is passed. Item number 12. Adopt ordinance number 4157, annexing parcel ID number 0053645.00, 0053635.00, and 0053585.10, described as part of the east half west quarter and part of the west half west quarter of Section 2, Township 13 North, Range 30 west of the 6 p.m., Lincoln County, Nebraska, and part of Lot 3 and Lot 4 north of Suburban Irrigation Ditch and part of accretions of Lot 3 and Lot 4, Section 12, Section 11, Township 13 North, Range 30 west of the 6 p.m., Lincoln County, Nebraska, consisting of approximately 209 acres on second reading. Bill, the ordinance, please.
Ordinance number 4157, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska, to include within the corporate limits of the city of North Platte certain lands described as part of the east half west quarter and part of the west half west quarter, Section 2, Township 13 North, Range 30 west of the 6 p.m., Lincoln County, Nebraska, in part of Lot 3 and Lot 4 north of Suburban Irrigation Ditch, and part of accretions of Lot 3 and 4, Section 11, Township 13 North, Range 30 west of the 6 p.m., Lincoln County, Nebraska, repealing all ordinances in conflict therewith, providing for the effective date and publication thereof.
Move to adopt ordinance number 4157, annexing parcel ID number 0053645.00, 0053635.00, and 0053585.10, described as part of east half west quarter and part of the west half west quarter, Section 2, Township 13 North, Range 30 west of the 6 p.m., Lincoln County, Nebraska, and part of Lot 3 and Lot 4 of the North Suburban Irrigation Ditch and part of accretions of Lot 3 and Lot 4, Section 11, Township 13 North, Range 30 west of the 6 p.m., Lincoln County, Nebraska, consisting of approximately 209 acres on second reading.
Second.
Motion by Garrick, second by Reeker. Any discussion on item number 12? Seeing none, calling the question on item number 12, please. Item number 12 is passed. Item number 13, adopt ordinance number 4158, annexing parcel ID number 0055485.00 and 0053596.00, described as North Platte Farm subdivision of Tract A, south half of Lot 3 and north half of Section 10, Township 13 North, Range 30 west of the 6 p.m., Lincoln County, Nebraska, and a tract of land in part of the southeast quarter of Section 4, Township 13 North, Range 30 west of the 6 p.m., Lincoln County, Nebraska, into the corporate limits of the city of North Platte, consisting of approximately 41.86 acres on second reading. Bill, the ordinance, please.
Ordinance number 4158, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska, to include within the corporate limits of the city of North Platte certain lands described as North Platte Farm subdivision, part of Tract A, south half of Lot 3 and north half of Section 10, Township 13 North, Range 30 west of the 6th PM, Lincoln County, Nebraska, and a tract of land in part of the southeast quarter of Section 4, Township 13 North, Range 30 west of the 6th PM, Lincoln County, Nebraska, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the effective date and publication thereof.
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you, Mr. Reeker.
I move to adopt ordinance number 4158, annexing parcel ID number 0055485.00 and 005 through 596.00, described as North Platte Farm subdivision part of Tract A, south one half of Lot 3 and north one half of Section 10, Township 13 North, Range 30 west of the 6 PM, Lincoln County, Nebraska, and a tract of land in part of the southeast quarter of Section 4, Township 13 North, Range 30 west of the 6 PM, Lincoln County, Nebraska, into the corporate limits of the city of North Platte, consisting of approximately 41.86 acres on second reading.
Second.
Motion by Reeker, second by Garrick. Any discussion on item number 13? Seeing none, calling the question on item number 13, please. Item number 13 is passed. Item number 14, adopt ordinance number 4159 to amend Title 7, Chapter 70, Section 70.24 of the Code of the City of North Platte relating to parking fines. Ordinance, please.
Ordinance number 4159, an ordinance of the city of North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska, to amend Title 7, Chapter 70, Section 70.24 of the Code of the City of North Platte by adding and revising parking fines, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinance in conflict herewith, and providing for the effective date and publication thereof.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 4159 to amend Title 7, Chapter 70, Section 70.24 of the Code of the City of North Platte relating to parking fines.
Second.
Motion by Reeker, second by Garrick. Any discussion on item number 14? Bill, you want to tell us what we're doing? What we're contemplating doing?
Yes, and Chief Reeves is in the audience as well. This actually came as a request from the chief because recently the city council passed an ordinance relating to RV parking as the police department was looking at that ordinance and looking at enforcement of that ordinance. Chief Reeves wanted to have some clarification as to the amount of any type of parking fine relating to the RV parking. So you'll note in the council materials, I did include a copy of the current version of this ordinance, which is 70.24. What I did with the proposed ordinance that's in front of you was I tried to kind of clean it up and clarify it so it's a little bit easier to read and you can see exactly what the $100 fines are versus what the $35 fines are. So really the only thing that's changing is adding in the $35 fine for a violation of new ordinance number section 76.22 for parking and storing of RVs. Other than that, it looks a little bit different, but all of the parking fines remain the same as in the current version. So, Chief Reeves can clarify this as well, but if the council would be willing to consider waiving the 3 readings, I think that would help the police department with their enforcement efforts. If there are any, we're hoping that everybody's compliant and that's not an issue, but I know if you'd be willing to consider waiving the 3 readings, it would sure help with what the police department's doing.
Chief, do you have anything to add? Okay, Mr. Reeker.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I'm curious, Chief, how many citations do you guys actually write for parking in particular? I know I live on a street where we routinely have people parking facing the wrong direction, and we have no parking on one side of the street, and routinely there's parked cars there.
generally one of the neighbors makes it pretty well known that there is a phone number that he'll call if the cars aren't moved.
Well, and there lies the problem. We get yelled at if we write them, we get yelled at if we don't. But a violation's a violation. A lot of those places we don't get to, you know, unless we get a call down in some of the areas. Tends to be a better use of our time to stay in areas that are a little more well-traveled, so. But we write quite a few parking tickets in a year as well.
Well, I want to thank you. I was going down, must have been 8th Street on the north side of the Berean Church. And there was a gooseneck trailer parked on the north side of the street that was facing to the east. And seeing as how it was facing the wrong direction, there was absolutely no reflection of any kind on it. And had somebody come down that street, you know, it would have been real easy to run into the standard that goes onto the ball on the back of the pickup, because there was no indication that there was parked there. It was a black trailer. And I did call you guys, and I went by a day later, and there was a citation on there. So I wanted to thank you for that. That was probably in my opinion, kind of a dangerous situation where somebody actually could have gotten hurt. So, but anyway, just was curious.
Well, the issue with the ordinance that you passed is it had a general penalty, and the general penalty would have required a court appearance, and I didn't really think that was probably the intent. So in order for us to be able to enforce it, we needed to put it somewhere, and this seemed like the reasonable place to put it.
So, thank you.
Mr. Wood, go ahead and Ty.
I'd motion that we waive the requirement of 3 readings.
Second.
Motion by Lucas, second by Garrick. I think he beat Vols out there, but to waive the 3 readings. Any discussion on waiving the 3 readings? Seeing none, calling the question on motion to waive the 3 readings. Motion passes. So if the council passes the initial motion, it would be effective in 2 weeks. So as it would not require further readings. Okay, any further discussion on the original motion to adopt the ordinance relating parking fines?
Yes,
Mr. Woods, go ahead.
I have a question on, it'd be C2, parking trucks in residential districts. I know in my neighborhood, there's a lot that's zoned light industrial, and I mean, it's surrounded by residential, but I mean, by zoning, it's okay. And the gentleman does have trucks parked there, so how does that work?
Are his trucks parked on his property, or are they parked on the street?
On the property.
Well, I'm not the one writing the citations, but if it came to me and I saw that it was parked in an area that was zoned something other than residential, then if they hadn't paid the ticket and it came to me to file it in the court, I probably would decline to prosecute it because I don't think it would meet the requirements of the ordinance.
Okay, well, that's what I wanted to find out.
That's how I would look at it.
That would be my opinion too. So, okay.
Mr. Mayor, I don't have the whole ordinance here, so I'm not sure, but I'm asking for clarification, really. How is a truck defined?
Exactly.
I mean, one of the common parlances is that I have a big truck. Well, it's basically a pickup truck, and it might be with mud tires on it and 4-wheel drive and 16 feet in the air. I mean, how do we define truck?
See, I made the assumption we're talking about semi trucks, which is not what's stated.
I think you have to read the ordinance. There's certainly a definitional section in there. I haven't, Ed, but I know it's got to be in there. You have to define what the truck is.
Yeah.
It's in the ordinance.
There is a definitional section within the chapter that pertains to traffic citations.
Okay,
so
thank you.
We can look at it after we're done if you guys would like to, but there are definitions that are contained in there.
Okay, thank you.
Obviously, one of your obligations as city council members would be to propose changes to ordinances or new ordinances. So if we want to look at it and we feel like we need some clarification on it, we can definitely go down that road.
Yeah.
Other questions or comments? Seeing none, calling the question on item number 14. As amended. Item number 14 is passed. Okay. Item number 15, approve the claims.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pay the claims. Second.
Motion by Reeker, second by Nisley to pay the claims. Calling the question on paying the claims, please. Claims are paid. Public agenda request. We respect our city employees and request that any complaints or criticisms of employees not be aired in a public meeting. Concerns about employees should be brought to the attention of the city administrator or the mayor. Individuals in violation will be declared out of order. I just want to reiterate, since we don't have a lot of people make agenda requests, that we don't actually debate the request as it's made. We take the time to do some research about what the requests are. Often they're resolved administratively in some form. I think we've only actually have had one agenda request in 3 years actually come to the council. They're usually resolved. So anyway, with that being said, if anyone has an agenda request that they'd like the council to consider in the future, please approach the microphone, tell us your name and what your request is, please. And usually we wait about 15 seconds. 5 seconds. If you've got an agenda request, please race to the microphone right now. Mr. Reeker.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Reeker, second by Bowles to adjourn. Calling the question on adjournment, please. Meeting is adjourned. Stay warm, everybody. Thank you for coming. Thank you.